everyone, this is Lily San, the host of the thriving Facebook group, The Spiritual Entrepreneurs, where we're hosting more than 17,000 members from around the world. And I found this gem today in our group. So, welcome to the Startup Celebrity Show. I'm just trying to
Awesome.
It's life is just too short. You just have to experiment funny things. And plus, this is live, so that we're not scripted. The most scripted thing is her bio that she has sent me. So we will see what's going on. Alrighty, so we have Jessica Davis today. And who is she? So Jessica Davis is an energy mover and shaker, providing tune-ups for your soul. She's born intuitive, and she's also a crystal healer, providing readings and healings to assist you on your life path. So, without
sounds so good when you say it. I like
that.
Really?
With the funny accent, right?
It sounds so official.
Alrighty, so let me introduce you. Jessica, there she is. Hello,
Hi.
Jessica. Where are you calling in from?
San Diego, California, in the United States.
Alrighty. Have you been there all your life?
I am from here, yes. I have lived other places, but I'm back home now. Yeah.
Alrighty. So tell us about you. I mean, how did you get into this thing? Everybody is talking about the spirituality.
I know. It is kind of a crazy thing, and it's so more accepted than it was even just a couple years ago. Right?
I know,
like
right?
Being in the woo-woo business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even that word is kind of fading because people are more awake to just living different lives now, which is awesome. So, I mean, I'm a born intuitive, as you had mentioned earlier, which means that I had dead people talking to me when I was really young, and I could sense and speak back to them as well. And so as a kid, I found that to be very confusing and overwhelming, and I didn't really know what to do with that. And I grew up in a very strict religious family where it wasn't something that I was free to speak about. So I kind of grew up and had a lot of anxiety from that. And then in my 20s, I ended up just getting overwhelmed by it all and having anxiety attacks. I worked in a call center, I remember, and you
work in okay, I'm so sorry. This is like this freaky moment here. You work at a call center. Did dead people call you?
Well, that's what I know. So, the person that I'm, the human, like the live human that I'm supposed to be talking to, calls and they're asking me these questions, and all I can hear is all the dead people behind them. And it was just like, it was too much. I didn't have any skill set on what to do with my abilities yet.
So what do you mean? So the dead people called you?
Well,
through a human being?
Called me, but their dead people, like their grandma, wanted to talk to them because once people on the other side know that you have this ability, it's like moths to a flame, right? They want to.
So I'm just curious. So while you're saying this, so how do they know that you know, or they just know?
Yeah, it's all energy, right? Like it's all just they know more. It's not like us and humans trying to figure it out, right? They just know, oh, this person can hear me. I mean, it's like that movie Ghost, right, with Whoopi Goldberg, and he's doing all that work trying to like get her attention and, hey, I'm over here. But if they know that you're tuned into it, then it's like moths to a flame. Mm-hmm. It's just they like, oh my gosh, she heard me, because I reacted, right? Like when I was a kid, I'd be like, oh my gosh, what was that? So then they're like, oh my God, we've got a live one. So in my 20s, I couldn't take it, and I had full-blown anxiety attacks, and I just kind of withdrew and went inside, and people diagnosed me with all sorts of yummy things, and I was told that I had all these labels, and went through.
Was that include ADHD or something?
Yep. ADHD, social anxiety. And then that leads to depression, right? Because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and everyone tells you it's bad, right? So it's this vicious cycle. So I had tried everything, and still just feeling really hollow inside, but still like I wasn't following my own truth. And I remember one of my girlfriends saying to me, like, hey, I see this healer. I know it's totally not something you grew up knowing anything about, but just try it. Just do this. What can you lose, And so I did, and that's what really just changed my life. She saw me for who I was and knew that I had these abilities, and I worked with her for many years, fast forward until I had my baby born. And as soon as I saw her, I said, oh my God, this is not fair to anybody, including myself, for me to be cheating myself off of what I'm supposed to be doing. I just felt really empowered by it all. And that's when I just started pursuing, how do I get skills to protect myself so I'm not being attacked or psychically attacked or so sensitive to other people's energies as an empath and all this stuff. So I took classes and I got skills and just on how to protect myself. The abilities were there. I didn't need classes on that per se. I needed classes on how to protect myself and to keep myself safe.
So, sorry. So just in case there are people watching and they don't know our terminology, what does psychic attack mean?
Oh, well, you can have one two ways. One is when like an actual human, like say you and I, we don't know each other too well, or maybe we know each other really well, and you like to get up in my space, and you don't know how to keep your space in your own space. You like to go past your aura and into my aura, and
so that's still
aura.
too woo. People don't understand. So what does that mean? Like into that space.
So, okay, sometimes it's hard to explain this stuff, and I thank you for calling me back a little bit on it, because it's like asking a fish to describe water sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, since I live this day in and day out, but sometimes even when you can't describe it, it's like that one employee that you work with, your coworker, that is just always, you energetically are just completely drained every time they come near you, or you're like, gosh, what is this? Why am I feeling so heavy? Or even if it's hard for you to articulate, that's a psychic attack. And a lot of times it's not the person doing it on purpose to you. It's not malicious. It's just they don't know how to control their own energy field. And so it pollutes your waters as well. And then if you don't know necessarily how to protect yourself, it just is this icky exchange of energy. And then how we deal with it then out is how we can filter through our
the person who's polluted, right? So easy for people to understand, like who are polluted, how do they come across? Are they usually like, oh, that kind of energy, or are they like very quiet but they're suddenly attacking you? I mean, how do you identify if you're somebody who is not in tune with energy?
Great question as well. So this can kind of come in many forms, but for example, if there's a woman, every time you go into your office, they work the front desk and you say, hey, how are you doing this morning? Good morning. And they're just like a real Eeyore about it. Let's say they're just really down in the dumps, oh, my back's hurting again. Last night I had a horrible night. It's just like a big dump, right? Well, if you're not energetically just protected yourself and you're kind of raw and open, you absorb that kind of gloomy energy and you take it on. That's where, like, it's an example of being an empath, if you've heard that terminology before. It's like where you take it on, and then now you've got that person's energy in your space, and it doesn't feel right in your vibrational alignment. So then you're like, well, now what do I do? So that kind of goes into my work too. I give you tools and tips on how to work in day-to-day life with other human beings on this planet, and like how you can actually just keep yourself very protected from things like that happen, which in the end ends up empowering you.
So is it necessary for one to protect themselves all the time?
Yeah. But it gets to be second nature. Like, you don't have to do these like specific things every time, like before you walk outside. It's just like using a muscle, right? Like once you learn how to do it, you can just set it, as an intention every day when you get up. I'm going to be protected before I walk out the house.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's more like germs, right? Like if somebody and then
and you're like, someone sneezes on you, right? And you're like, ah!
Yeah.
Totally good analogy. Yeah.
Right. So I think that happens a lot if there's a lot of bickering thing going on in the corporate. There's backstabbing and there's bitching. Then for sure you need to protect yourself because you're constantly being attacked. So can you be silently attacked from, say, across the?
Yes. The answer is yes. And so that's why it's really good to take, either like some sort of class. I think anything that makes you aware of your presence and where you start and where you stop. Sometimes, we bleed into different things and we don't realize that we're really thinning ourselves out energetically. And so it's really nice to do some sort of lesson of where do I start and where do I begin? And that can be through yoga, meditation, learning how to ground yourself. These are common, terms and baby steps to get towards learning, even crystals. You mentioned that I do work in crystals. Crystals are there to help us too. There are certain crystals that you can use that act as a shield as well, because then you're absorbing their energy into your field, and that's what you're allowing in versus the sneeze energy, right, that you didn't want of the other person.
So now we know that we can be psychically attacked. Then how then would one individual recognize that, oh shit, now I'm being attacked?
Yeah. What's really cool is once you become, it's that awakening kind of thing. Like now that you know, you're going to be more aware of it just because we're speaking about it, right? Like that's an awakening, right? Just in itself. Oh, this does happen with Sally or Jim. Every time I see them, gosh, I do feel funky after that. So what you can just do by itself is just try little nuances, like not being so close to them. Take just a few steps back and see energetically if that gives you your own power back.
So I have a question. So I mean, what to give an example of people working in the office? I mean, you can't really like quit your job and balloon yourself in a cubicle. So how do people?
But that's what I'm saying. So energetically, don't engage with that person as much. You don't have to be rude, but you walk in and you're just like, "Hey, Sally," instead of, "Hey, Sally, how was your day?" Because you're setting her up. She's of course going to tell you that, but you can't take it, and nor should you take it on. And so you're automatically setting that boundary. That's why I was also leading in with just taking a few steps back. There's also those people that like to be right up in your space, right?
So you mean like taking a few steps back physically?
Physically take a 2 steps back, because it's creating what I call seniority in your own space, which is so important to have. And especially us as women, we lose our seniority many times over throughout our lifetimes, and then we're just lost in our identity. So I like to call it seniority in your own space. And by doing these subtle things like taking a few steps back, that's you claiming your territory in a way. Or by not engaging so much. We always think it's so polite to be like, "How was your day?" Then sit and listen to it and blah, 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 blah. There's nothing wrong with making the sentence shorter with, "Hey, good morning. Hope you have a great day today."
That's it.
Doesn't engage much further, right? Sometimes we feel like we're obligated to be nice, but we're really in return hurting ourselves because we let them serve their misery on a platter to us.
I can imagine like the people who have trouble and problems saying yes and no's, like let the yes be yes and no's be no's. I would imagine they're more prone to psychic attacks.
Very much.
Their boundaries are so wonky.
That's where they don't know where they stop and where they begin, right? And I think we've all kind of dabbled in and out. It's part of growth, figuring out where our yeses and nos begin. But by you saying, I'm only going to say, good morning, instead of how are you, I'm just going to say good morning. That's saying yes to you and no to the other person, in just a subtle energetic thing. And the more times we say yes to ourselves, then it starts to get stronger, and that's part of that seniority in your own space.
Cool. Yeah, I think this is so needed, especially for women, because we think we need to like help everyone.
Yeah, it's just part of our societal.
So, I mean, I'm just curious. So now that we're on this topic, has there been like spirits who are asking you to do crazy stuff that you absolutely have to say no to?
Well, so that was part of why I did this schooling, is because I really wanted to learn how to protect myself, because I'm going in deep with people, right? Like I'm not just doing superficial stuff. Like, I remember my teacher saying, like, you have to be okay with someone coming to you and saying that they like committed murder. And I was like, what? Like, I don't know that I'm ready.
You just judge them.
Exactly. That was in the beginning of my class. And she's like, no, if you're going to do this work, you have to be really neutral and you have to be ready for everything. And so I really had to work on that. again, neutrality is kind of where we're all trying to reach, but sometimes it's hard, right?
Mhm.
And so when I go into the reading space, it is totally a neutral space. It's like it just tune my ego out, and then I just have to go with whatever I'm told. But sometimes, I hear these things and I'm like, are you sure you want me to tell them that? And they get louder on the other side if I don't. They're like, yes. Source energy is like kicking me energetically, like, yes, you have to tell them. And it always ends up for their betterment, the clients. But we always say an opening statement of whatever we get out of the reading today is for your good, for your highest good, and for the good of all. So I really have worked really hard to make sure that the stuff that comes into the readings or the spirits know that I don't mess around and we're here to get work done. So
Mm.
we're not here to do petty stuff or, iron out some old nonsense from a long time ago. We're here to actually do work and what can better the people that are alive today on this earth.
So do the spirits like share secrets, like dirty little secrets with your clients? And
Well,
like there is this barrel of money hidden under the cave and you must
yeah, no, it's more about like they'll give me little insights when it's like they want to validate, like a little something that only they would know that they want the
Mm.
other person to know so they know, oh my gosh, there's no way. So that just really gets the people like warm in their heart, or like maybe they knew that so and so really liked a certain perfume or something like that. But it's the scandalous stuff or whatever like that, it doesn't really come up like you say. And one thing that I pride with my clients, I used to use the term psychic, but I noticed I was attracting the wrong clientele. And so that's, I had to sit down with Source and I was like, I need to really work on a different title. And so that's when we came up with Energy Mover and Shaker, because if you come to me like, where's the $1 million? When am I going to win it? When am I going to meet the man of my dreams? That's really just not my cup of tea. I really want to work on what's blocking you from achieving these things in your life. That's really what it's all about. And so that's what the healing, and that's why I call them tune-ups for your soul, is really about. Instead of just saying you're going to meet a man on the 15th of June in 2020 and he's going to have a mustache, because you're going to spend the rest of your days thinking and consuming on that one thing, and that isn't healthy from my line of work.
So you talked about the clients. So who are the clients who generally and typically come to you? What kind of problems do they have?
Well, so for those of us who are, working entrepreneurially, I think we've heard you say, and several other people say, really your story is what you know the best, right? So I have this ability, but I also have my story and my journey as well. So I tend to attract a lot of clients that I can also apply some skill sets that I've learned through managing anxiety, or having depression, or
so anxiety and depression.
How to handle also, like, you're an empath and you're sensitive and people's energies are coming in, and I can provide you tools with that. So although because I can psychically talk about any subject, I think that I also do coaching in those areas too, just based on my own life work. But I do notice that there's like a big array. People always say, and you specifically have said, I need my avatar nailed down, right? And honestly, and I'm probably not helping anybody too much, but I don't have her nailed down completely. And I do have some male clients that come. So,
well, I think it sounds like you did. Like you want to work with people who are empath, who are depression, who are not depression. Yeah. They're going through a depression and anxiety.
Yeah, you're right. It could be just a state that they're currently experiencing.
Yeah, so I think you've got that pretty nailed down. I mean, it doesn't have to be like she's a mother with 5,000 children. No. I mean,
yeah, it could be a 20-year-old or a 50-year-old. That's what I mean by like, I don't have it nailed down like they look this specific, they have brown hair, etc. It's more just like life experience and what they're going through at this moment, or trying to shake off.
I think for people who are talking about the avatar, since we're on that topic, I think it's just easier if you write to this person, just one person. Like today, I was just writing a post, and so I just picked one of the many versions of my ideal client, and I just wrote to her and I spoke to her. So I think that's what makes your mind
easier.
Yeah, but it doesn't
Especially if
make
you're like
me like that.
blogging or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you got it like the depression state, the anxiety state, and everything, then you know what she's going through. Then you can sell her the results. Like you want peace, you want clarity, because if I think that's an important piece.
It is.
Because to be honest, I used to do card readings, and one of the module was to do mediumship, and I didn't want to do it because not everyone can do it. It's very dark, and to be honest, I'm just scared of ghosts, right? I'm just scared by them just naturally. I mean, it has got me this far, and finally I can sleep in a hotel room by myself. Like, otherwise,
congratulations. I know that was hard for you.
Jessica, it's crazy. When I used to fly, like you go to different hotel rooms, and oh my God, it's like you actually get it. My bed was literally shaking, so I can't like cheat myself and say I tried to cheat myself. I tried to tell myself it's an earthquake, but I was talking to my friend. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Hong Kong earthquake? No, Hong Kong never have any earthquake. I'm like, then why the hell is my bed shaking?
I know.
So I don't think everybody is meant to do work like this, and especially it's very, I wouldn't say dark energy, but just heavy, and not everyone can manage it. So how do you manage like to go from heavy and light?
Well, I remember when I was going through that like protection training, and we were talking about how there are some shape shifting energies that like will pretend they're Uncle, Sam from past or whatever, and then it ends up that they're really not the person who they said they were. And so I have a bouncer guide set up that just literally checks IDs before they even get to me. So there's like this layer of work that I've done with setting up, I have 14 or 15 guides at any given moment that I'm working with, and they all have their specific roles on what they do to make sure that I'm running a legitimate business and that I'm protected and I'm not getting psychically attacked.
Right.
So it's been years of work and, just really refining the process on what I wanted as a client and who I wanted to call in as well. And once you set those parameters, and that's for any business, not just this business, but you can call in the clients that you want to work with, right? I mean, that even with what you do, because you start to just see. And so the ones that aren't willing to do the work, I also noticed too, with pricing and how you set your pricing. When I was new, I wanted to charge, I think you just did a post on that. We're healers, so we have to do it for free kind of thing. So I started posting, I'll do a reading for $45. And I realized that those aren't people who actually wanted to do the work. They just wanted yes or no answers. Like, how long am I going to live? I don't answer that question.
Just give her the Doreen Virtues cards. They'll answer for you. Or give her the pendulum.
Yeah, like those are things you can do yourself. So, I really feel that we as people just naturally know how to protect ourselves, and we should just be following, if anything, our intuition a little bit more. As women, we've kind of desensitized over time our intuition. And so this goes back to the psychic attack. I have to handle it the same way. No one is allowed in this inner circle unless I say, I'm in charge of this.
That's right.
It's the same with people. But we've given and not said no when we're supposed to. And so sometimes we just turn into a doormat, even if that was not our original intention. So
I have
getting back.
This selfish question, like, so I'm sure there are people like
$1 million.
No, like I'm sure there are people like me. So what do we do? Because we're sensitive, right? So what do we do, like when we feel like this energy in the room, and husband is 5,000 miles away from us? So what do we do?
So are you talking about like a hotel room?
Like anywhere? Yeah. I think especially hotel rooms are so like dirty. I mean, not dirty, filthy, but the energy is not clean.
So do you actually, because I know this, do you actually like go in and sage and redo?
I don't, but let's just say that I don't.
Okay, good. I'm like, come on, you've got to at least be doing that. But get a little sage kit, is what they're called, or smudging kit, and you can get. And sometimes sage smells like pot. So let's be honest, you don't want them like turning you in because you have a smoky room because sage can get quite smoky.
Yeah.
So I like Palo Santo. It's a very nice wood from Peru, and you can just get that, and it's very light, and it has the same energetic qualities of clearing a space. And so you go around. I specifically do windows and doors first, and I always say only love can enter here because if my grandma wants to come, I'm cool with that. But so I always I'm happy to be surrounded by my guides and people who, again, are working for my highest good. So that's why I say only love enters
Right.
here, and by anything that is not serving me, be gone. And so I go through this whole process with the candle burning and the Palo Santo, and then I just have whatever your prayer can be. It can be made up by you, or it can be a sanctioned prayer that everybody else says. But just something, just stating the energy before you walk. You're actually like planted in, like before you unpack or sleep in the bed, that you can create these rituals for yourself that you can do, and that's a really easy one.
Interesting. That's amazing. But what if like you forget and your bed literally moved? Then what are you going to do?
So you open windows and you physically make the energy different in the room. Don't turn on the TV and go under the covers like that. Hearing CNN or whatever the equivalent is in your, where you are, is not clearing the energy. That's actually just feeding it. So it's like making sure you can go to a high vibrating place. And if you can bang anything, bang something. Like, not everywhere you have a pot, right? But like pot in a pan, but like something where you can like, ding, ding,
shoes.
Ding, shoes, makeup brushes, like just ding, 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 ding. And then really just kind of raise, if you could hum, just really get to a place where all of a sudden you're not focusing your energy. Energy loves company. So whether it's negative or bad, you want to just create more of that positive thing.
Right.
And a lot of hotels now have those spa musics that you can listen to too. So just try to get to some sort of place that raises your vibration versus you being in that scary place, because it's just going to feed it all night long.
Right.
And I have one other tip for you. So the ego is really, really big at controlling our lives. It's its job, though, to save us. That's what it literally thinks it's doing. And it's our brain. But the brain only knows the past, right? It doesn't know even current time. And so it freaks us out. So it hears the sound and it goes, oh my gosh, Elise, we've heard this sound before and it's freaking scary. Don't you remember the last time the bed totally shook? And you're like, feeding it, right? And so what you got to start doing is talking to your brain and saying, thank you, acknowledging it. Thank you for bringing this up, but I'm choosing to believe something different right now. And what that does is calms your mind down, because if you don't acknowledge the mind, it gets worse. It's like, hey, over here, I'm over here. Oh, didn't you hear we're scared? Blah, 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 blah. So instead you say, thank you for bringing this up, all is well. Or thank you for bringing this up. Everything is working out for my highest good. Follow it up with some sort of affirmation, and you'll notice that your life will start to shift even in that very moment, because your brain goes, whoa, we're doing something different now.
And we're not dead. We're still alive.
And we're not dead, right? Like, I always like to say it's about speeches, right? Most people don't, like, the first speech you ever were supposed to give, you didn't like it. Most people don't. So what happened was they told you you're going to do a speech in 20 minutes. People go, oh my God, their palms start getting sweaty. Your brain is freaking out, right? No, we've done this before. Someone didn't like it, or we almost died. I mean, your brain would have you believe that you were going to die the next time you did something scary, whatever it was for you, a speech, singing, just anything. So if you start to say, okay, brain, I don't want you to drive my car anymore, but I get that we're living here together. So you say, thank you for bringing this up. I'm choosing something different now. It still may be that there's a little bit of fear going off in your body, but that's healthy fear. That's not out of control fear. So that's where about having seniority in your own space comes back in. Instead of just letting this monkey brain rule our world.
Right. So sometimes that energy may not even be there. It's just our mind,
right? An old tape, because you got freaked out 20 years back in some hotel room where they could have been genuinely something there. But sometimes we just manifest stuff too. based on the
Right.
old tapes.
Right. Cool.
Mhm.
Cool. I think this is a lot of, I don't know, like even my daughter, 10 years old,
Yeah.
gets freaked out because I think she feels something, but she doesn't know how to articulate it out. So she just says it's ghost, and then because ghost is not a pleasant word to associate with, then she doesn't want to go to the bathroom by herself. And then she just causes so much inconvenience, right?
I'm back.
Yeah, cool.
I was
So,
having technical difficulties.
so
For
the
your
ghost
daughter,
did it.
I know. Of course. Darn it, you can't get us. We're winning. Um, the minute you mentioned your daughter's ghost, it must be a really powerful one. No. So for our children, we need to give them these tools. That's how 20-year-olds end up with anxiety, is because, they were just told a lot of times, yeah, go back to sleep, or blah, 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 right? Like we weren't giving them tips. We're just kind of stuffing it. And especially for girls, that's where she's having an intuitive moment right there. Regardless of ability, skill, that's some sort of intuition. So even if we just acknowledge, mommy sometimes had that when she was younger too, but I'm okay. Look how we turn out. Or, I remember that one time, but I just, and you just kind of talk to yourself, all is well, all is well, everything. And then open your eyes and look, we're here. Everything is okay. Just kind of giving them little tips to put in their pocket so they have them for when, they're 20 years old and they're in a hotel room and they don't have you with them. And then they stuff it again or something. You're helping them out by acknowledging it, but then giving them a tool.
You're right. I mean, why at a like consciously, logically, a 30-something-year-old woman, even a 20-something-year-old woman shouldn't be afraid of this because you have all the skills to walk out, run away, and scream and do whatever. But yet you're freaked out like this lizard on your shoulder, right?
Yep.
So now that you said it's true, it all formed when I was a little child, a little girl. I was too scared to tell anyone, and even if I did, my mom and whoever would just say, "It's okay, you're just thinking too much."
Yep.
And then I would just be thinking, it's okay, I'm thinking too much, but I really felt it.
Yeah, and you weren't honored.
Mm.
So, I mean, this happens to us at a very young age. And I think that, I don't have a son and I didn't grow up with brothers. So I don't want to sound like but I just don't, I honestly do think there's a difference on how the genders are treated.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that for when boys bring it up, it's treated differently. It's not stuffed. It's like just push through it more is what I see. But for like girls, for some reason, I feel like it's a stuffing thing. Like we're making it up, like you know, and then it gets louder. But then we don't feel trust. We don't feel trust to say something,
Mm.
And then you do get to your 20s, which I believe your 20s are really just you're the oldest of being a kid. I feel like we don't really bloom and become adults until we're 30. That's like
Yeah.
the infancy of adulthood, right? 30.
Yeah.
And so think about like you're first on your own, you've been stuffing all this stuff this whole time. Now you're in your 20s and you're trying to figure out life. Like you could give a huge gift to your children, whether it's boy or girl today, by just listening, honoring them, and figuring out some sort of tool.
Mm. It's so interesting. I just talked about this infancy at 30 when I just before this interview. It's just so funny.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. Like
Well,
when
source works.
I mean, like in your 20s, you know nothing. You're just trying to figure things out, and then by the time
You're
30,
just a big kid.
Yeah. By the time you hit 30, you are like, shit, I'm going to be 40 soon. I better do something about it. And then, you are like bombarded with all these irrational fears.
Yep. That's where tune-ups, whatever we just talked about is where tune-ups for your souls really comes in. Mm-hmm. That's the avatar, whatever that is like capturing you at that moment. Because sometimes I have people who are 50 coming to me and they're just waking up from that and realizing, oh my gosh, everything that I've had floating inside my head wasn't mine. Like I acquired it either from my parents' belief systems and I'm just awakening up to realizing these tapes that have been going on in my head aren't mine, but how do I stop thinking these thoughts because I've been thinking them for 50 years?
Yeah.
So
I
and
think
it happens
it
at
just
any
doesn't,
age.
yeah. It doesn't matter if you're 70. I just quote an example. It could be 70, but sometimes we judge a woman who is 70. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, she's like a baby. So
Yep.
it's not about age. It's about when the moment you are awake and the moment you are conscious, that's the time you start living. It's not age appropriate.
No. And that's the time that I like to call it the energetic shake, like a dog, a wet dog, and you kind of do the shake. That when that awakening moment happens is when you start to shift. Whoa, this isn't serving me. I need to figure it out. But it's hard to do it on our own, right? Because we're also trapped inside of this. So our brain is like, well, we don't need help, or blah 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 blah. So it's just about really reaching out and figuring out who your lifelines are to help you through these processes. And it really does take a team. You got to build your team.
It does. Alrighty. So where can we find whatever that you just said and more?
Well, my name is Jessica Davis, and Jessica is spelled with
Isn't
a K.
it a bit too late to introduce yourself right now? You're funny or what?
And so jessicadavis.com is my website, and you can find me on all the social media network sites under Jessica Davis EMS for Energy Mover and Shaker. And then I also have an Etsy store where I sell energetically infused goodness from Mother Earth, aka crystals. But, I do a lot of cleansing to them and infusing them with extra goodness. So you can find me on Etsy as well under Jessica Davis EMS.
Awesome. Yeah. So that was such a lovely conversation. We don't know where it was going to take us, to be honest. We covered so many things. Totally. We covered depression. We covered anxiety. We covered ghosts. We covered sage. We covered crystals. We covered, I don't know, what else did we cover? Women
children.
who are 7. We talked about children. We talked about women coming out at the age of 50, not coming out of being a human being, fully awake at 50. So
having
there's so
seniority in your own space.
We were talking about boundaries. We talked about psychic attacks. There's so much that we have talked about. So in this short 30 minutes. So I'm sure you can find more of Jessica's work at her website, jessicadavis.com, and all of her social media. So thank you, Jessica, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for saying yes. So, alrighty. So if you have enjoyed the conversation, please leave us a comment below and let us know what you think, and we'll be happy to talk to you. Or if not, join us in the spiritual community, the spiritual entrepreneurs community, and start a conversation with Jessica, and I'm sure she's happy to engage with you as well. Alrighty, so thank you so much for your time today, and we look forward to having you with us again on the next Startup Celebrity Show. Alright, take care, see you soon. Bye.